Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another week. I'm excited to be here. Um, didn't do it last week, had a lot going on mentally. So I took a little break, but I am back today. Got some exciting things I'll be posting. Hey, lady. Got some fun stuff I'll be posting. Starting tonight, actually, after I'm done. So I'm really excited about that. Hi, Kennedy. And yeah, just really excited about what I have going on. I went to Meet the Winemaker event this weekend at 1010 Wine and Events in Inglewood, which is a Black owned, woman owned wine bar, which is like so dope. And in support of my friend Kiana, who was introducing a new varietal on her wine. So good, so good. And met some other winemakers who we'll be collabing together soon. So I'm really excited to be here. My allergies have flared up, so I sound a little nasally. I've been sneezing for half of the day, but it is what it is. Life goes on. I'm used to it. So I'm gonna go ahead and open the wine. I have a Sauvignon Blanc, and this one is 11.5%. Not too bad. Could be stronger, but I was ready because this one is a twist cap, so I was ready today. I think I'm gonna get it done. Hey, Megs. Ugh. Y'all know how I am with these twist caps. I can't never get them open, but I'm determined to not be defeated by the twist cap. But right now it is defeating me. I'm struggling hardcore. Oh, wait. I think I got some movement. Oh, I think, yep. Okay, so I need to stay that way. Whew. Yep, it's starting to, there it is. I did it. I did it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this pour. Man, I mean, twist caps are really convenient when you're out and you are not trying to take a corkscrew and look like a complete alcoholic. But my goodness, they give you a time. So I'm gonna go ahead and swirl this a little bit. Look at those legs, y'all. My goodness. Very pretty. Smells good. It smells good. Let's see. I like that. It's dry. It's a bit dry, so that makes me happy because I'm not a big sweet wine drinker, as I say, on a regular basis. So yeah, but it's really good. A few facts on this wine. It displays floral and fruity aromas. If I could smell a little better, I'd probably be able to get a few more, whiffs of the aromas that are in there, such as citrus that are pronounced and exotic. It pairs with fish, seafood, and goat cheese or on its own. I'll let you guys try it and let me know what you think, especially with the fish and seafood pairing, because I cannot eat those things. Never had goat cheese, so that's something that I will try one of these days. Matter of fact, I think one of these days I will do a food pairing on one of the lives. I think that would be kind of cool. So yeah, I'm gonna look into that, see how we can do that. If you're new to the channel, thank you for joining me. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Go ahead and like this video now. Oh my goodness. My brain is a little foggy, but I'm still here. Blueberry goat cheese from Trader Joe's. Okay. I gotta go get some. I gotta go get some. What would you eat that on? Like crackers, like a toast? Uh, yeah, just let me know because I'm definitely down to try it. So, and this one is a really good wine, so I like it. um, there's the dogs. They wanted to say hi. Getting into everything. A baguette? Okay. I'm gonna have to try it with the baguette. I'm gonna go get some this week or so. By the weekend. I'm not gonna promise like this week, like by Friday, but maybe by the weekend I'll go get some and try it and see how it pairs. If this bottle survives till the weekend, I would definitely do that. Or I could just go buy another bottle. It's an excuse because there's a Trader Joe's not too far from where Total Wine and More is. My nose is just but yes, let's get right into it. So in 1998, Lauryn Hill released by far one of my favorite songs that she has ever created, which was X Factor. And I feel like if you're in a relationship, mainly women, this song embodies, emotions that women, want from her man. I'm only going to read a little bit of it. She starts off, "It could all be so simple, but you rather make it hard. Loving you is like a battle, and we both end up with scars. Tell me who I have to be to get some reciprocity. See, no one loves you more than me, and no one ever will. Is this just a silly game that forces you to act this way? Forces you to scream my name, then pretend that you can't stay?" Y'all, I don't care how old this song is. If no matter when you hear it, it's gonna have you sitting there stopping your tracks and really just like, oh my gosh, let me just, because I think that's one of the biggest things in relationships that is, without people saying it, next to money, things like that. Reciprocity is the biggest thing that you want in a relationship. No one ever feels like, I don't want to do certain things. So for those who don't know what reciprocity is, Sterling defines reciprocity in a romantic relationship as the healthy give and take between partners. It's a mutual exchange of support. Uh, it's hard. It is really hard in relationships, and a lot of time, one of the biggest things that stops it, in my opinion, is ego and pride. So those two things can't exist when, you're romantic. And I feel like even in just platonic relationships as well, like I feel like that's my biggest thing in this current year and moving forward is, you know, not being one-sided on a lot of things. And I feel like I had to deal with a lot of one-sidedness and so, in these years and so long that it's just like, okay, something's got to give. I got to give, you got to give. We are not doing this anymore. Of course, there's always going to be one person that's doing a little bit more. It's just the way it is. But then there are times when, that slack gets picked up. Look at, I'm a reference Michelle Obama again. When her current book came out and everybody was just making this big old deal over her talking about how she had 10 years. Now, mind you, they've been married for 30 something years. She said she had 10 years where she didn't like her husband. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't be with somebody and I didn't like him for 10 whole years. It's not every day that she did not like her husband. She explains that. But they took a soundbite and that's what they put up. So now everybody thinks, oh, she didn't like her husband for 10 years. No, she had 10 years where they were some of the roughest years of, their marriage. And it took work, and she said she chose him day in and day out, and that's what helped the relationship grow. Had she not done that, then they probably wouldn't have been together, and that's why a lot of relationships fail as well, because they're looking at the give and take and how it affects them. And of course, she said that the hardest part was when they had kids. Whether you want to say it or not, having kids does change and complicate relationships, period, because it's always going to be one person that's doing a little bit more, one person is feeling, whatever it is that they're feeling, and it is a little negative. However, you have to get past it, and you got to work together to get past it. But you know the overall sense is, give and take, and it eventually balances out over time, which it did. So to have a reciprocal relationship, each partner must know their needs. And I was having a conversation, with someone about that, and this was a male that I was having the conversation with, and it was just so casual because we were just sitting here talking about, one thing, and then somehow we ended up talking about, women and not knowing what they need. And being a woman, most women don't know what they need. We don't talk to ourselves and say, oh, well, I need this. But a part of knowing what you need is understanding yourself, knowing who you are. And if you're constantly growing and evolving, you have to do the work to understand what your current needs are. You're not the same person that you were, sometimes a year ago. But if you got into a relationship with somebody, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, who you were when you met and who you are now should not be the same, period. If you are the same, then you have been stagnant and you do need some growth that's gonna happen. But I thought that was, I wasn't offended when I heard it, because it's like, it's true. Most women don't take time to evaluate what they need, and they misinterpret wants and needs. Yes, you can want somebody that has X, Y, and Z. You've got this checklist, but is that a need or is that a want? So you have to, really just go ahead and evaluate that. Another thing to keep in mind, when it comes to that as well, is a person's early childhood. That can affect how they practice reciprocity in their relationship. People who didn't grow up in a home where their family members gave to one another freely have no frame or reference on what it looks like for it to be done correctly. So if someone was younger and they grew up seeing that their mom was doing all the child rearing, laundry, cleaning, cooking, things like that, then of course they're going to think that's the framework of how it is in a relationship. So you got to show grace as well and look at all that stuff, because it does affect people emotionally. It affects them, mentally, how they, deal with certain things. So you have to really lay it all out on the line and look at the bigger picture. Why is it important for this? Because it allows a good flow of energy in your relationship. And that's a big deal, because it really does affect your mood, drastically, if one person is getting more than they're receiving. And then, once that animosity starts to build up, then you're butting heads consistently. She even said that as well. She said, he would come home, change his clothes, and say, oh, I'm going to the gym. And she'd be like, wait a minute, what do you mean you're going to the gym? You just got home. You ain't did nothing with these kids. How many diapers have you changed? Things like that. And then it becomes oh, now you're trying to keep score. And she said, while it may have seemed petty and childish, when you're in that moment, of course that's what you're feeling, because you feel like you're being taken advantage of. And it's not the case, because it's not, what's going on. And a lot of times when we're in our emotion that we're feeling, you're not thinking logical. But you can't. One of the things that I'm learning as well is logic and emotion don't go hand in hand. So if somebody is in their emotion, you have to come down, to their level, because you can't fight that emotion with logic. So you have to be emotional with them. And I feel like that's a part of emotional maturity as well. And it shows how emotionally stable a person is when they can bring themselves out of a logical sense when another person is emotional. So that way you can support them. But there are some ways to do that. Let me get another sip of this wine, because, yeah, that was a lot. But like I said, I am practicing all of this. It's not something that I've mastered, but it's something that I'm working on because of my journey on wanting to be better in so many different ways. So I'm not trying to make it seem like I got it all together, because I don't. But these are definitely things that you have to practice and a part of, your everyday life. One of the ways is learning your partner's love language so you can love them the correct way. I think so many people don't look at this as a realistic thing. They just feel like, but when you hear somebody say, you can't love me the way I need you to love me, what do you think that is? That's loving somebody in their language. And a lot of times people don't know their language. And yes, of course, we all want to battle. Oh, well, there's this, there's that. And it's not just, no. There's a whole test out there that if and it asks, like, there are literally, the test that I took was, I think, 40 something questions. And they are very specific. And it gives you your scores, which I'm going to actually share, which I thought was pretty cool. But mine are in this order: 37% quality time, 23% physical touch, 23% acts of service, and 17% words of affirmation, 0% receiving gifts. When I saw that, it made sense, because I am very much a big quality time person, and quality time looks different to everybody. With me, it's just like, if my honey looked at me and said, I'm about to go, before he can finish saying, I'm about to go, I'm already putting on shoes, grabbing my bag. I'm like, yep, let's go. You ain't even got to tell me where you're going. Just to be with you, be in your presence, be around you. That makes me feel good. It doesn't have to be super big. If I'm watching something and he sits down with me, takes a little bit of time to come and do that, makes me feel good. If I'm going somewhere and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go with you, that makes me. So it's like things like that. So you have to know what that person, and it takes time to learn people, especially when they're growing and evolving. Physical touch. I'm a big physical touch person, and I realize that my youngest is the same way. Like, this little guy loves to hug. He want to lay on you. So he gets it honest. Acts of service. I don't think a lot of people know what that one is either, but that is more like, okay, say for instance, your partner's like, hey, I'm picking up dinner on the way home. That's an act of service. Oh, I'm gonna, go and wash some clothes. Is there anything that you want me to throw in the washer with my stuff? Yes, that's an act of service. So, you know, washing the dishes, those are all acts of service. So that's a big thing. And words of affirmation, while it may be on the lower percent, that's a big deal to me. I love to hear the things like my friends. Oh my gosh, the way they pour into me, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. But the way that it's poured into me, it does make me feel good. You're not a physical touch person. You should do the please don't touch. There are a lot of people that are like that. They do not just want to be touched at all, and that could change over time as well, but there are a lot of people that do not want to be touched. So I understand, and people got to respect it. I like to hear, you look beautiful, and I can accept a compliment from a woman faster than I can a man. Like if a random man's like, oh, you look pretty, I like your hair, things like that. And I've had that happen. It makes me uncomfortable. It makes me very uncomfortable. Whereas if it's a male that I just know, like a relative male, or a friend that says something, it's like, oh, okay, thank you. But if a woman's like, oh, I like your hair, this and this and that, I'm like, oh, thank you. It sits different. But yeah, I feel like that is the best thing. And the way you receive love and the way you give love are also two different things, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. So I'm a big acts of service person when it comes to seriously, right, Max? I'm an acts of service person first. So I'm always going to look, how can I help you? I'm going to offer up, oh, do you need me to do this? Is there anything I can do for you? Like, that is the biggest deal to me when it comes to, people. So I'm going to give first. And that, of course, that's not my top one. Mine is quality time. So it's like, I'm going to, I'm always looking to see how I can serve people because it makes me feel good when I'm doing that. I'm going to offer up my help, things like that. So the way I give love and the way I receive love are two different um, love languages, but it makes me feel good to know that I can be there for somebody. And it does hurt when it's not taken, the right way. If someone takes it lightly, you're just like, wow, you feel a little unappreciated. But that may not always be the case because guess what? If you're not doing it the way someone else, needs it to be loved, of course it's not going to be received the right way. So that's when I had to learn in that aspect to take offense out of it. Hmm. So yeah, that's a big one. Um, Another way to practice reciprocity is to work on your communication when you disagree. Now, I know for a fact that, everybody, everybody can work on that. Even if you know each other's love language and you're practicing it, with one another, if you're both in an emotional state, it's going to be challenging because you're both, acting out of emotion. You're both talking to each other in ways that you won't. And, um, oh my gosh, I was talking to somebody. I can't even remember who it was that said it, but they were saying that sometimes it is hard, because it's like, you love that person, but as soon as they say something snappy, your feelings are so hurt, you're rebuttaling. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've done that. I do that. I got to get better on not doing that because it's like, I don't mean to do it. It literally just happens because it's like, why would you say that to me? Well, guess what? You suck too. How about that? And it's not nice. It doesn't feel good. And then you're reevaluating, everything that you said. You're over analyzing, you're overthinking. And it's just so many different emotions that come from that. And it's not healthy because if it happens too long and you keep doing it, it can affect your health. And I know with me, when I'm like completely stressed out, my head hurts, my back hurts really bad, like my lower back really hurts. I can't stop crying. I'm not eating, and I know I need to eat, and everybody says that. Yes, I know I need to eat, but it's harder for me to eat. So it's like I may start eating and then I'm full. So that's it. I'm just not going to eat anymore because now I'm full. And the only good thing that comes from it is I done lost a little weight. However, no one wants to stress lose weight because then once you're feeling better, it's coming right back. So gotta learn to work on, you know, communicating effectively when you disagree. And avoid keeping score. That is not reciprocity. Keeping score like, oh, well, I had to change, 10 diapers and you only changed two. That's not okay. If you're home, hey, Stunna, welcome. If you're home and you're with the baby more often than not, do not, look at it as, oh, I changed. Well, guess what? If they're not there, they can't do it. So it's not something that, you could sit there and feel a certain way about it. But I feel like a lot of people are doing that in their relationships, and it does create bigger problems, is keeping score. I know I've done it. And it's not healthy and it doesn't make you feel good because then you're using it and against that person, and it's not healthy. The one thing my therapist, and I'm still working on it, the one thing my therapist always tells me is to focus on my own actions instead of the actions of my partner, because it will increase the likelihood that we'll both end up fulfilled when I focus on myself solely. I can't put the all of the emotion on him. I gotta worry about myself as well. And it really does make a difference, but it does take me some time to get out of those emotions as well because again, I'm a human. I have feelings. I'm going to feel certain things. I'm going to think certain things. And yes, it is hard when you are in the thick of it and you want it to go a certain way, but it's not going that way. It also goes to the whole, I hate that saying happy wife, happy life, because it's not about just one person being happy. However, studies have shown that in relationships, that when a woman is vibrating at her best, she is able to give more to the man that she is with during that time. So I understand it a little more now, because at first I was like, no, I don't agree with that. But then when it was explained to me that it's not about, oh, just catering to her and giving to her and what she wants and needs, it's about how women generally will do more when they feel appreciated, because it's like that's the nature of it. So men are at their best when their woman is at her best. So I just feel like it's a full circle situation. So I mean, I get it, it does make sense. However, society has made it to where we can't have anything and it just be something that's a good thing. So yeah. I can go on and on about that, but it is what it is. And, the biggest thing is to practice interdependence. I can't remember. Yeah, both definitely matter. And it takes a lot of practice so that way both people, and hydrate. It does take a lot of practice for both people to, do this. When you think about the greater reward of it, I'm sure life is a lot more, peaceful and harmonious. And I feel like that is the ultimate goal when it comes to it. So I just think if both parties look at, what they want and the outcome of it, life is a lot more grander. So yeah, and those are starting to feel better. Um, I can't remember. I'm not even gonna look. I'm not even gonna look. Oh, I can look right here. I don't even need my phone. Ha ha. But there was one live that I did. Um, uh, oh, so November I did an episode on dependence, and it touched on all of the the topics, interdependence and codependence and being independent. And I was saying my biggest practice right now is being interdependent, and it's still a practice because you don't want to depend so much on a person to where you can't function. And I've seen a lot of people that place their happiness in their partner. And then when things go wrong, they can't function. And it's not healthy, and it's a sad situation, because it's just one of those where it's just like, now what? Like, that person they don't feel like they have a need to, keep going. And it's not healthy. It's not healthy. So, with interdependence, it's, two people who support each other, but they both have their own thing going on. So that way, when they come together, it is in a more blah 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 in a more healthier environment. They're both receiving from each other. They're both pouring into each other. So that way they flow a lot more fluidly, and they can both vibrate at their highest, level of it, while maintaining a clear sense of themselves. Just like I was saying in that episode, you and your partner can have multiple things in common. And then there are things where it's just like, okay, well, you like golf. I'm not a big golf person. Yes, I will go with you every now and then and try and learn, how to, hit the ball, whatnot, but that's not my thing. You go ahead and enjoy your golf. Well, you don't like wine. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and go to this winery. I'll ask, some of my other friends if they want to go with me. So that way, you know, the different interests between each other is what gives your relationship a better dynamic, because those differences are what's going to, fuel you to keep going and maintain your own identity. So, to practice interdependence in a healthy relationship, both partners must ensure that they don't become completely engulfed by the relationship. The relationship is a part of your life, it's not your entire life. And that one is very hard for a lot of people, to understand. Um, Maintain your friends, your hobbies, and spend time without each other. And then when you come together, a lot of the time, it does make it a lot more exciting to be with each other. And you can get through it a lot better. So, that is, the biggest way to have a reciprocal relationship. And even in your friendships, non romantic, those platonic ones, with your friends, a lot of people, they don't feel like they're getting, or sometimes some people are so selfish that you can't say no to them at all. And they will sit here and have a whole fit because you're not doing what they want to do. That's not a reciprocal relationship. And you just feel used and taken advantage of when you do it that way. So, yeah, I think this year we should all work on being better in that aspect. But if anyone else has anything to add on to it, I'm still here. And if you're on right now, don't forget to hit that like button. Okay. Well, that is all I have for tonight. And I'm kind of happy because I need to sneeze a little bit. My allergies flared up around 11 something. I said, oh my gosh, this is not okay. My eyes got itchy. I said, this is not okay. But I still kept going, did what I had to do. Eyes are a lot less itchy. I mean, they feel a little swollen because they got puffy at some point during the day. And then I was just like, good Lord. So then once the allergy medicine kicked in, I started feeling a little better. I just stopped sneezing. I was sneezing like 30 minutes ago. Well, 45 minutes ago, maybe 45 minutes to an hour ago. It was pretty bad. I was in here struggling, but I made it and I survived and I pushed through and I persevered and I'm proud of myself. So, but thank you for joining me. I'll be back next week, a little different, and I'm really excited about this one. Um, so I will see you next week, everyone. Good night.